That night, I walked out. Not in a fit of rage, not to make a scene, just quietly, with a heaviness I hadn't expected. My wife had humiliated me in front of her friends, and it wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it. Her voice laced with laughter, her expression smug, like I was the punchline to a joke I hadn't been let in on. It had already been a draining week. Work had sapped whatever energy I had left, and all I was hoping for was a quiet evening at home. Instead, I came back to find her entertaining 3 of her college friends. Women who, while not outright rude, always had a way of turning every conversation into a subtle contest. Whose husband earned more, who vacationed farther, who had a cleaner home, or, as they liked to joke, who had the most obedient man. At first, I played the role. I poured wine, accepted compliments with a tight smile, and sat silently as they swapped skincare tips and travel stories. But as the night wore on, the tone shifted. One of them laughed about how hard it was to get her husband to do anything around the house. That's when my wife looked over at me and, grinning, said, "At least yours makes an effort. Mine thinks changing a light bulb deserves a medal." They all laughed. I managed a weak chuckle. Then she added, "Honestly, it's like having 2 kids, one I carried for 9 months and one I married." The laughter exploded. Except from me. I looked at her. She didn't even glance back. She was busy high-fiving her friend, proud of the line she'd delivered. That moment didn't just sting, it silenced something inside me. Like a switch had been flicked off. I stood up slowly, slipped on my jacket and said, "I'm going for a walk." She looked up, caught off guard. "Babe, come on, it was just a joke." But I was already halfway to the door. Outside, the chill was sharper than I expected. The kind of cold that makes you zip your coat all the way up. I didn't know where I was going. I just walked. Away from the clinking glasses and the laughter I no longer recognized. Away from a house that felt a little less like home. I passed shuttered storefronts, dim alleyways, and empty sidewalks glowing under flickering streetlights. Strangers passed by, lost in their own lives, and I welcomed their indifference. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I ignored it. It rang again. And again. On the 4th try, I picked up. Her voice had softened. There was no teasing in it now. "Where are you?" I didn't answer. "Look," she said hesitantly, "I didn't mean it like that. It was just a joke. I was trying to keep things light." "You did," I said, my voice flat. "You kept it light. You just left me out of it." She went quiet. Then, after a pause, "Will you come home, please?" I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I only said, "I need some time." And then I hung up. Eventually, I found a bench beneath a weathered old tree in a quiet park. I sat in the stillness, watching the occasional car glide by. My hands were cold, but I barely noticed. What I felt was something shifting inside, something quiet and defining. A line being drawn, not from anger, but from a clear, steady recognition. That night taught me something. It wasn't just the joke that hurt, it was how easily it had come to her lips. How natural it was for her to tear me down for a laugh. How small she saw me when she thought I wouldn't notice. That truth cut deeper than any insult ever could. When I finally returned home, hours later, the house had gone quiet. Her friends were gone. She was curled up on the couch, a blanket over her legs, eyes swollen from crying. She stood when she saw me. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I really am." "I know," I replied. "But there's something I need you to understand." She nodded, waiting. "I don't want to be your private love and your public punchline. I won't be the man you claim to care about behind closed doors but mock when others are watching. That's not love. That's performance. And I'm not your stage." Tears welled in her eyes again. I didn't sit beside her, I sat across from her. And we talked. No yelling, no theatrics. Just honesty. Raw and overdue. That night didn't end in apologies or instant forgiveness. It ended in truth. And sometimes, truth is the hardest thing to sit with. But it's also where real healing begins.